What's up, guys? John with Stay on Target here. I'm staying in the comic shop this week. There's a lot of things this week. In fact, a couple that I didn't pick up last week that I'm going to be talking about as well. First one from last week, it would be Tomb Raider. This is number 2, and this is by Gail Simone. And it started off incredibly well, picked up right after the game. Super awesome. Make sure you guys pick that guy up. Then we've got The Flash with Brian Buccellato writing. This is a really cool comic. Again, I'm going to be mentioning Brian again here in a minute whenever we talk about Detective Comics, and that's actually my pick of this week. So I think I just gave away spoilers. I don't know. My final two here, the big two. We've got The Wake. And this one's been a really cool series. This is number 7 of 10, so we're kind of like winding down towards the last bit of that series. It's been a really cool thing. It kind of split halfway through, and the last half of this thing is kind of a futuristic, kind of dystopian future type of a story. And that's been a really fun one from Scott Snyder and Sean Murphy. All right, so my pick this week is Detective Comics number 30, and this is from Brian Buccellato. Like I said, I would mention him again. So Brian Buccellato, as well as Francis Manapul. This is a one I've been pumped about since, I guess, November, since they left The Flash. And it's kind of it's really going to be great to see their art style and kind of the contrasting elements of light and darkness in the Batman Detective Comics world. This cover is really cool, and it's kind of a he said that basically that it was a take on some old detective books from back in the day, and it's got that contrasting really bright yellow with the dark night there on the cover as well. So make sure you guys pick that guy up. Gonna be great. As promised, I'm sitting here to do the review for Batman Detective Comics number 30. This is the first issue where Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato are taking the helm of this book. First of all, let's go into some non-spoilerish stuff. The art is beautiful. The storyline is cool. You should pick this comic up. There's the spoiler-free side of this review. The answer is yes, you should buy it. So let's go into some of the details, some of the deets of this comic. Basically, it's a new story arc, which is interesting because it's like this. There's this comic, the Batman Detective Comics, and it kind of is like one of the big two of the Batman universe. There's Batman, just the regular series, and then there's Detective Comics. Batman currently is in the 0 year with Scott Snyder, which is also really cool and you should pick up. But this one is basically a fresh story about Batman, and it's really cool to see this new, fresh take on it. As I said, the art is by far some of the coolest that you will see in comics. Francis Manapul is an incredible artist. I love his layouts. The layouts are super cool in this one. Basically, he captures the essence of what Batman has done in the past, especially on Detective Comics. Like, we had Tony Daniel for a long time on Detective Comics, and whenever he would have inevitably at the beginning of every story arc, and sometimes at the beginning of almost every issue, you'd have this moment where you turn a page and there's this huge shot of just an action shot of Batman, and it had, would just ooze with this energy. And Francis kind of takes that and totally does it. You turn the page at one point and you're just like, whoa, what am I looking at? It's a full 2-page thing where it's like all one. Looks great, really beautiful colors, and obviously Batman just looks amazing. There's also the colors. The colors in this thing are very different from most other Batman stories and things, and I love that Francis is bringing his own style into this anyway. But that being said, there's these nice contrasting elements and kind of like watercolor-ish coloring on this thing, where there's bright colors mixed with dark blues and mixed with really nice grays and dark colors. And so there's just that really cool element of the art to this thing. The storyline, let's go into this a little bit. We introduced, this was the part of it for me that was a little bit sprawling, just because this is the first issue of an arc. This is Icarus Part 1. So we're introducing all the key players. The introduction of the Squid, but that didn't happen until later on, man, and he's a drug dealer and really vicious gang leader. Then we also have the introduction of a couple of characters, essentially a mother-daughter team of entrepreneurs and philanthropy people. They were working on a deal with Bruce as Bruce Wayne to revamp the waterfront, that sort of thing. Apparently somebody was upset about that, and somebody was upset about how that deal went down, that it was the deal was with them as opposed to with like the city, and so there's like some corruption on that level. So there's like two kind of main plot points, main plots that are going on, and I just don't know how they intersect yet. And so like we'll just see how they play out and how they intertwine like this. I'm super excited about this one. If I were to give it a rating, I would give it an 8.5. You should definitely be picking this guy up. This is the last thing I'll say about it. I'm really excited because it seems like Buccellato and Manapul are going to create these characters who are more like gangster-oriented, who are corruption-oriented than necessarily just pulling out a bunch of supervillains or dark Batman, like the anti-Batman or whatever. It seems like they're going to be pulling a little bit more of that depth out, and I really enjoy it whenever we talk about like gangsters and Batman, and it just really kind of reminds me of my favorite like Batman stories. Year One, Long Halloween, those types of things, where like we're dealing with supervillains, and they are supervillains, but we're also dealing with kind of that underbelly, the underbelly of Gotham, you know, kind of the corruption and that sort of thing. So that's the last thing I'll say about it. Definitely pick up the book. That's Detective Comics number 30, Francis Manapul, Brian Buccellato. Do it. Just pick it up. Just go. Just drive to your store right now. Pick this up. Just drive out there, pick it up right now. Do it. I'm gonna get on with my drive. And that's it for this week. I'll see you next time on John's Comic Run.